Hello, this is Craig Mertens, Director of Product Education for Inktavo, the parent company of GraphicsFlow, Printavo, InkSoft, Sign Tracker, and now Clarity. We're international, so we acquired a sign-making shop management software in the UK called Clarity. We're excited to be working with those folks as well. So welcome to the webinar today. We are going to take a deep dive into the GraphicsFlow Stock Art Customizer. And let's get right into it. So I'm going to turn my mug off. Let's talk a little bit about the Stock Art Customizer. I think it's one of the things that's kind of important to talk about is just the basic navigation. When GraphicsFlow first came out, we didn't land on Stock Art. We landed on My Art. And we made a kind of a decision to switch that up. So when you first log into the software, you're going to see design ideas. That's what's going to be reflected in your software. Now, you'll also notice you're going to see clip art here. So here's all your clip art. I really don't like the word clip art. I like to call it production ready digital art. The reason I do that is this is artwork that if you're a screen printer, you could just print color separations from this. You wouldn't have to do no work. If you were cutting vinyl or laser cutting something, these files don't have intersecting paths. They're literally set up perfectly for various production processes. And that's not true if you take artwork, and I create things with AI too. It's never production ready. There's always some kind of extra work involved in doing it. And it's certainly not generally particularly friendly for screen printing, great for digital. There's very specific production requirements for each process. And so we've always built our clip art and our design templates based on this concept of you doing less work. And you'll notice like right here in the clip art, these are the actual graphics elements that were from the new templates right here. So we parted these out. So if you want to go in here and pull out parts and pieces and kind of do your own thing, you can do that. And there's some really fun clip art, especially in the last couple of months, some pretty interesting things. Also, fonts. So good designs require good fonts. I always joke around the sign-on bonus when you get set up for GraphicsFlow is 560 fonts that if you were to go and purchase them independently by themselves, you're going to pay between $15 and $30 a piece. And many of these fonts are exclusive to GraphicsFlow. About 160 of them in there. We handcrafted all the way back from the Digital Art Solutions days. They're all those fonts that have the prefix DAS, some of your favorites that are in here. What I always recommend doing on the fonts is downloading the entire fonts file and then installing them. Now, a couple different options there. If you're working with a font management software like Suitcase or something like that on a Mac, you don't necessarily have to install them through the traditional operating system installation. You could use your Font Suitcase software. If you are a CorelDRAW user, you could use Corel Font Manager to install them as well. One of the big advantages of using Corel Font Manager to install your fonts is you can turn them on or off as needed. You don't have to go and uninstall them, reinstall them. You can literally flip a switch and disable fonts. And if you want to re-enable them, you can re-enable them. So it's a really great tool set to have than your Corel graphics suite. But everybody manages their fonts a little bit differently. I just always like to point out these DAS fonts, they're kind of the original fonts back from the Digital Art Solutions day. And design ideas, clip art, fonts by default, everything's going to be arranged by date first. So newest in. So you notice over here, if you go over to the sort order, that recent first is going to be the default. You can also sort by A to Z. It's going to give you more along the lines of like agriculture, right? So you're going to be seeing things based on subject matter sorting, and then Z to A, and then oldest first if you want to see some of the original art. If you flip over to recent first, you're going to see more modern progressive artwork. Now, in terms of when you're searching for art, a couple tips in here. Number one is don't get stuck on the colors. Do not get stuck on the clip art. Do not get stuck on the subject matter. What you need to get stuck on is the composition. So for instance, like this little graphic right here is a great little circle design. It's actually kind of hard to do in a graphics program, all this text on a path to get it looking correct, especially you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different objects on text on a path. So it means there's probably 4 circles in there. That's actually pretty hard to get set up on your own in Illustrator or CorelDRAW or even a sign program. But we've already done that work for you. So you might not want that flower in there. You might just want that circle text in there, or maybe just the outer circle. You've got a great starting point. So I always urge you to select your designs based on the style. And so you can look for art a variety of different ways. Probably the most obvious way is by category. And so if I went in here and I just wanted to see, things that were related to farm and ranch, I could go over here and say, hey, I just want to see equestrian, or I want to see all farm and ranch, and it's going to filter out. Now, here's the thing. I could also sub-filter that by style. So if I went over here and let's say I only wanted to see patches. So now I'm only seeing patch-related designs that are around farm and ranch. And if I come down here and uncheck farm and ranch, I'm seeing all patches. I like to look for artwork by style. That's where I always start. Anytime I'm creating something, I'm always looking by style first, because I have vision and I can look at it and say, hey, listen, I don't need that particular swimmer in there. I can put a mascot in there, something completely different, or turn it into a resort graphic or whatever I want to do. I'm just looking at the overall composition. But anytime you want to clear these searches, just go ahead and click the little X in here. And there's quite a bit of variety in terms of the style in here. So if you need something like real kind of feminine looking, or if you wanted to, contrast that with flames, there you go. You could get kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum if you wanted to, or you could have them both searched together. So let's go ahead and clear that. And then you also have collections. So where you see over here, this is Pro Graphics Collection, and this is artwork that's just exclusive to the GraphicsFlow Pro plan and the GraphicsFlow Elite plan. So if you want to see kind of your exclusive designs, there's about 1,572 that you have that people on a starter plan don't. Probably the easiest way to find a design if you're looking for something by subject matter is to filter the results. So I'm just going to type in weld. I don't have to type in welding. And I've got welding designs, right? I could also type in welding, probably going to get the same thing, right? If I wanted to find something that had cougars in it, I could do that as well. So sometimes you just want something really specific and you don't really want to spend a lot of time, and the mascot's already in there. You don't really have to deal with it. I think that'd be more common to see like around, a sport related design like football. But when I'm looking at these designs, this is obviously a football design right here, right? But the only thing that makes this a football design is the fact that it has the word football in it. The idea and the concept behind this is have a little vision, have a little flexibility, find something that appeals to you visually, and then make it your own. Also, you can go over here. This is going to allow you to search by file name. If you do the stock art search, you're going to be searching across everything. So here's what I mean by that. If I type in wolf, then it's going to be searching across design ideas, clip art, and if there's any fonts that were related to wolf, they would be in here as well. Let's see if we type in game, if we get anything. Yeah, so we got game day and game related things, and you got chess in there too. So you kind of get an idea how that search works. But I think the easiest way to search is by this search result right here. We're actually searching within design ideas. And the same search capability is true throughout the platform. So let's go in and do a basic edit just so you guys can get an idea of what's going on here. If you are using CorelDRAW, if you're using Illustrator, and you've got the fonts installed, you can bypass the Stock Art Customizer and you can just download something. You could go over here and just click on that and download the CDR version or the AI version. You do want to make sure that you have your fonts installed if you're going to do that, because if you don't have your fonts installed, you're going to get a message if you're an Illustrator user that's going to say, hey, the font's missing. Do you want to take this really great design with a really cool font and substitute it with something that's not so great? We don't really want to do that. In CorelDRAW, you're not going to get that message because Corel allows you to embed fonts into the actual graphics file. So the CDR file has a font embedded into it. So you'll still get the font if you don't have it installed, but you'll notice in the font list, it'll have a little asterisk next to it. And the asterisk is telling you that it's an embedded font, that it's not actually installed. So what does that mean? It means you can't open a fresh document and find that font, because the only reason it's there is it's embedded with that file. Always install the fonts first. Again, if you use a font management software, you can use that and just install the ones you like or you think you like and go from there. Now, incidentally, if you use the Corel Font Manager and there's a missing font, you've had Corel scan your system for fonts, it'll find it and install it for you just for that instance. So that's another great use there. So you could just download the AI file, bring it into Illustrator. Fonts are all live. Everything's live. It's all built in layers. These files are literally identical between the Illustrator version and the CorelDRAW version. But if I select the PNG file, I'm going to get a medium resolution image with the background knocked out. Let's say you just want to put together a little graphics catalog or a postcard and you don't want something really super high res to share with the customer, you could download the PNG file. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass all of that because I'm just going to hit the old customize button here. And then we're going to customize it right in GraphicsFlow. So the first thing I'm looking at this design, it's kind of a cool design, classic sports design, cool font, got the little steering wheel, and it makes sense for pirates, but it might not make sense for what we're doing. So I could put another image in there, maybe a one color mascot and just like ghost it in behind there. That would be one thing I could do. Yeah, we could try that. Let's see if we like it. We're either going to love it or we're going to hate it. So I'm going to go over here and just click on the little button and we're going to hit replace. And I'm going to pick out, let's see, maybe we'll do a softball. So in order to do that, if I want to do that ghosted thing, really what I need to do is find something that's one color. If I want to do it right. Now, interesting enough, this might actually work pretty decently. I'd have to do a little bit of recoloring on it, but I'm just looking at kind of my options because we do have a lot of options in here and seeing if I can find something that just kind of speaks to me. I'm kind of liking those cross bats so far, and we're either going to love it or we're going to hate it. And guess what? We won't know until we try. So we're going to click on that and we're going to throw that behind there and we're going to see if we like it. And you know what? Not crazy about it. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cancel it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to that object and I'm going to turn it off. Point being is you can try things. It either works or it doesn't. And I think it's for most people, they'll look at it and say, yeah, that works. That really doesn't work. But what I'm focused on right now, I just want to get the text in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and where it says pirates, we're going to change that to eagles. It's a multi-layer text effect. So there's 2 layers on top. So you'll have to change both layers. Just copy and paste, pretty easy. Hit enter. So we got that done. P looks a little weird. So what we're going to do is change that to an E for eagles. And again, multi-layers. So you've got 2 layers on that. So we want to change both layers of that P in there. So we'll change that to E. Notice I'll just line right up. And then I'm going to do class of 1984. We're going to leave alumni alone. Now, I could go in and change fonts. So if I didn't like this font, I want to use a completely different font, I could do that. If you go down here and where it says alumni and you wanted to change that to a different font in there, you could come over there and let's say you wanted to make that game day and just scroll down here and you could select it. Also, you can favorite. I don't know if you guys know this. You can favorite all these fonts. So you could just have it look through favorites too. We can just go down here and find a different font and something that kind of sings to me. I'm not going to keep it. I just want to show you, you can change the fonts right there. And I don't like it, so we're going to hit cancel. So I like the fonts that are in there right now, but you are not stuck. You can do whatever you want. It is up to you. There are no real rules here. And you always have your favorite little undo button here if you don't like something. Once we have that set up, basic roughed out, eagles, alumni, E, what I'm going to do is I am going to go in here and start playing around with colors. Now, we've got a fair amount of colors in here because guess what? It picked up the colors from this little guy right in here. And so it's picking up those colors. But really, the only colors within the graphic here are looks like that really bright red. And we've got black and we've got white. And there's some outlines in here and there's some full colors in here. But what if I want to set this up on gray or maybe a black? Okay, it's not going to work on black. So you'll notice I have this preview over here and I've got this preview over here where we can turn that preview on or off. And that's really important to change that background color if you're doing like a weathered overlay. So that's kind of why that's there. And so we can see how this is going to look on dark. Doesn't look great. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over to a kind of a grayish color. See how that looks. I think it's going to look pretty terrific. Yep, looks great. And then we have to go back and change the color of this E. So I'm going to go over to this E and the fill color, I'm going to make that the same red in the design. So I'm trying to kind of keep my colors down to a reasonable number of colors because I'm thinking ahead to the process I might be using here. So if I'm going to screen print this, I want to keep it down to a simple number of colors. Embroidery is the same thing. But if I'm going full digital, I might expand it to gradients and fills and all this kind of fun stuff. What you're trying to do is you're trying to work with your customer, feel them out a little bit, get an idea of what their preferences are, send them a few ideas, and then kind of get it dialed in so that when you present, design concepts to them, that you guys are kind of synced up. Let's take a look at what this looks like on dark. Looks actually great. And I think we'd be ready to go, except those aren't the colors we're going to use because we're going to localize this. So watch. I'm going to come in here, and where this color is right here, I'm going to keep the gray in there. This is eventually going to go on navy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that. I'm going to use that nice deep athletic gold on there. We're going to change that. Could make this white. You're going to see some things are going to happen as soon as I make this white. It's going to look quite a bit different, but I think it's going to improve it. If I come over here and then we make this white, white's color in the graphic, I think it's going to look pretty terrific. Do I want to make these numbers gold? I think I do. So let's go over here and numbers. We're going to make those gold. Color's already in there, so easy enough to select it. So what am I showing you guys? I'm showing you how you can just go in and selectively recolor things. So you can either recolor globally or selectively. If I go into my colors here, you'll notice I'm using the system palette. These are the default colors that come with GraphicsFlow. These also match the default colors that are in the InkSoft Designer. Same colors, same RGB values. All these colors are tuned in to match up to the common colors that you would see used in the industry, primarily for like schools and teams and things like that. But let's say you're a screen printer. You use a very specific set of inks from like Wilflex. And really all you really want to do is you want to match to your Wilflex inks. Or you do a lot of cut vinyl and you want to match to the colors of vinyl that you buy from your supplier. Or possibly you have a new DTF printer or a DTG printer, and you want to be able to match to a color that you know your printer just prints great. Like my printer prints these RGB values for red perfectly, and I know that. You can add your own custom colors now. So I went in and added custom color palette, and I just called it standard colors. And these are just like the 18 popular school colors I added. Super easy. All I did is I took the RGB values, I downloaded the little chart, took the RGB values for my common Pantones and put those in there. And then if you're working with like a specific customer that has their own color palette, and you can even add a palette just for that customer. So you're always using their colors in your graphics. So that's a new capability, but we're going to stay with the system colors and we want to save this. So I want to be smart about this when I save it. I want to keep everything really well organized. So I'm going to click on Save Design. I'm going to name it and we're going to call it East Eagles Alumni 84. Why are we going to put all that data in the name? Because this makes it super searchable. I can go back and add tags to this once it's saved into my art, but wow, I can search for it under East Eagles Alumni 84. A lot of ways to find it. And I already have a folder set up here for East Eagles. And so I'm going to go over here into my East Eagles folder and we're going to save that. And we're going to save it in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back in the future and maybe we want to go in and edit on that. I'm going to use this Eagles folder right here. That's where I want to put it. So it's just going to drop right in there. So I am saving this file. This file is being saved as a native CorelDRAW file, a CDR file. For an Illustrator user, you know what we're going to download? This PDF file right here. Because I can just bring that file right into Illustrator. If I'm going to take this into Illustrator for post-production, I'm going to save that PDF. If I'm going to bring it into CorelDRAW for post-production, say I want to do some extra special things with it, I'm going to save the CorelDRAW version of the file. So you got kind of the best of both worlds. And let's add this to an art approval, and let's just see what it looks like navy. And we'll just add it to an art approval. So we'll go over here and say add to art approval, and we'll create it. And we'll call this East Eagles Alumni 84, and could put a description in there. Just going to hit create and add, and then we're going to hit view art approval. If I didn't catch it fast enough, I could go back to my art approvals function in GraphicsFlow. It'd be at the top of the list, but we've got it. And before I sent this over to the customer, I probably want to drop it on a background, and we'll just click on it. And then what I'll do is I'll go over here to background colors, and we'll do a nice deep blue. Depends on, real true navy is like almost black. So let's see. Now, if you have the color numbers, the hex numbers, or the RGB numbers, you could put those specific colors in there. It's a simple design, but I think it looks pretty terrific. That's the basic context of how you would, create something from scratch. And let's go ahead and share this. And so I'll just hit invite collaborators, and then I would decide, if I was sending this to somebody, I'd probably copy the link. I could put the link in here myself and email it to myself if I wanted to. But what we'll do here is we'll just copy a link. And this is the way I always like to explain that. View only, that is the students. Comment is the parents. Comment and approve is the booster parent or the coach. The link you send them makes the difference in terms of what they can do. And that's also true over here. I can also decide what permission I'm going to send that out as well. So it's kind of up to me. So if I say comment and approve and I send that, put a little note in there, I'll get a little email. So this is interactive. So customer on the other side, they throw a comment in here. What do you think? They're getting an email. It's a messaging system. They reject it. I'm getting an email. All the commenting history is in here because if you scroll down, here's all the commenting history. And it says here that I have not taken a look at this yet. It's going to show that it's been opened because that's a feature that we added to the platform, is it will actually show that this is opened and allow you to see if the customer's opened it. And if it's approved, it'll say it in here as well. But also if they approved it, they got to click through your disclaimer. And you're going to see that not only is in the stamp for the approval and when they did it, time and date stamped, but when we go back to art approvals, come down here, it's going to be show as approved. And since I'm done with it, I'll probably just archive it. So we'll throw it in the archive. I don't need to see all these. They're already been approved. We'll just go ahead and archive these out. These are all the ones that are still open that haven't been addressed. So I can come in here anytime I want. I see all my art approvals that are not, approved yet. So I can know exactly what's going on. So that's the basic process. Now let's do another one. Let's do one that's a little bit different. I'm going to go over here and go to design ideas. And we're going to select one that was a little bit different from that. This one right here. Another example, text on a path. And what I love about this design is I hate laying out text on a path like this in Corel or Illustrator. It's hard to get it looking like this, get all the spacing, all that stuff is kind of a difficult thing. So I'm just going to hit the old customize button here. And we're going to customize this again. And then we'll go over here and we'll say Eagles Forever. We'll say East High School. I'm going to put an extra space in there. And then we should have it say EHS, nice and simple. This would make a terrific embroidery design. So if you're doing embroidery or patch, this would be a fantastic design to do. And we could go and make the Eagles Forever a little bit bigger, a little smaller if we wanted to. But I think if we increase that size a little bit, we're not going to be able to get away with much larger without having it kind of overlap there. So we always want to be a little careful about doing that. What we're going to do is we're going to go over here, and maybe I already have the eagle for East already uploaded to my art. If I did, I could go over here and replace this eagle with my art eagle and use the actual eagle from the customer. And we'll come back to that in a second. But we're just going to use this eagle right there. And that's the one I use for East Eagles all the time. So it's kind of the official eagle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of rotation because I think it looked a little bit better. Probably just a little bit more. The smart way when you're recoloring those, before you even get back to the main design and you're in the clip art, recolor the clip art based on the colors that are already in the template. And I'll show you why that's important in a second, because it's going to allow us to globally recolor this real easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that blue and make it the burgundy. Hit apply. I'm going to keep the gold the same. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to take that color and we are going to make it white because it's a bald eagle. There you go. Hit apply. Then I'm going to go back and view layers and I'll show you why I did this with the gold, because I want to use this gold as the gold in the design. So all I really have to do is go over here, click on that old gold, and then click on the new one. There it is. Hit apply. And then this, we're going to make that blue. There you go. Hit apply. Now, we can start playing a little bit. Where we have the Eagles Forever, I think it's going to look really great if we make that blue there. So let's make that the blue. We'll start bringing this to life. And then where we have the East High right here, I think we're going to make that the same blue. See how easy it is to recolor this? A couple of things we want to look at on this design here. This color right here, I mean, I think the gold, it's a little overpowering. I could turn that to white, but you know what might be interesting if we're going to do like a gray shirt is ghost in kind of a ghosted color of gray in there that's pretty close to the color of the shirt. So we could go over here. If it was like an athletic gray, I'm probably going to come over here, go something about like that. All right, looks good. Hit apply. So we'll change this to Eagles Forever. Call it 01. And we're going to put it in that same folder. East Eagles, save design. So let's do another design, and let's do something a little bit fun. And I want to play around with color a little bit. And I'm going to save this file to my downloads folder. Play around with color a little bit and show you how big a difference changing color makes. Now, my mom is the former president of the Arizona Garden Club, and I got an email from her earlier this week, but all it was the PDF invite from my mom to the Arizona Garden Club, their spring flower show. Their colors aren't great. Their logo's not great. It's just not that cool. And I think if they're going to sell some merch, if you really put some juice into creating something that's a little bit more interesting and you kind of steer the customer into something that's above and beyond just maybe just their logo, something that's thematic, there's no reason we have to use the Arizona Garden Club logo for our spring flower show. Let's do something a little more dynamic. And that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to come over here where it says customize. So change that to 25. And bloom where you are planted. I'm going to put Arizona Garden Club there. Arizona Garden Club. Hit enter. And then St. Mary's Youth Group over there. That's going to say Spring Flower Show. Hit enter. And don't really need California. I'm going to turn that off. And don't need annual spring retreat either. Turn that off. So I'm not in love with these colors. What I'm going to do here is we're going to play around with the little colors. I do like the orange, but I'm going to go with a brighter orange. So we're going to go over here and just do a pretty poppin' bright orange in there. I am going to go over here and actually do a bright yellow. Kind of a limoncello yellow in there. So it'll start to come together. Over here, we're going to use like an aqua color. Over here, we're going to actually go true hot pink. And then we've got this color over here, which I'm going to make in the purple realm, something pretty bright. Let's try it on dark and see what's going on. So a couple things we could do. We could just go over here on this light color that's the background. And we could just go over here and just throw it on to white and see what happened. Okay, let's change it to a dark background. It's not bad. So we could kind of go the opposite. What we could do is we could put it on black, see what happens. So it's a little bit better, but let's try something else. Let's go put this on blue, like a navy. And that looks pretty terrific. We could even go over here and something more like an indigo. Ooh, that's not enough contrast. We got to go a little darker. That looks great. If we're doing like an ash t-shirt or a white t-shirt, but we always have the ability to save variations of this file, come back, open it up, make a variation of it with a different color. So the point I was trying to make is how much difference it makes just by playing around with the colors. It makes a massive bit of difference. And you might try something a little different over here, is I might actually try making this white over here and see if that pops a little bit more. Yeah, it does. And then under spring, so spending a little bit of time recoloring things and just kind of getting it dialed in. Yeah, that's it. That's the keeper. Let's save it. I'm going to create a folder just for them. So I'm going to say save design. And I'm going to go down here, create a folder, Arizona Garden Club. So I've created a folder. I'm going to put this design in there and I'm going to call it Arizona Garden Club Flower Show 25. Again, that way it's really easy for me to locate it. So I've got the file saved and I'm going to download a PDF on that as well. Here, let's also download a PNG of this. The concept here is we're actually setting up to get some ideas in front of the customer. Now, here's a pretty cool way to do this one. So I could send them the art approval. They could see it. But I really want their business. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm actually going to send them a web store. I'm going to set up a little web store for them. And hopefully they buy in on the web store. And I say, hey, listen, all you guys have to do is just flip the switch and give me the thumbs up. We're going to sell these shirts for between $25 or $30. If we sell them for 25, I'm going to give you guys a 20% revenue share. If we sell them for 30, I'm going to give you guys 25%. If we sell them for 35, I'm going to give you guys 30%. You guys decide. If you want to do like a cheap shirt for like $15, I'll give you 15%. If you want some for $15, it's kind of up to you. And so it's going to be a revenue share program. And what's nice about that is you're not going to get lined up against a whole bunch of other people. So let's create a store around this. So I am going to go to stores and we're going to build a store real quick. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to hit Store Plus in my InkSoft account. And I'm just looking for, kind of the basic layout that I'm actually kind of like this one in here. Now I don't have a banner, so we'll have to come up with a banner. But all I really want is just a simple little store for this event. Simple layout. You can put registration in there too. So I'm going to click on this template. I can click on View Demo if I want to see a demo of the store. I can do that, but I don't really need to. I'm just going to say Arizona Garden Club, and then we're going to call this Spring Flower Show. But the URL is going to be something totally different. URL is just going to be Arizona Garden Club because I want to get all their business. So we're going to launch this store with just their little event, but we're going to come back and we're going to do something completely different down the road and just load it into the same store. So let's go to my store and we got to get this localized. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here under Store Admin. And this is where I would put in the name of the contact person. So we'll just say it's Mary Lewis. Put her email address in. She's the contact person. Put all the pertinence in there. And then store branding, that's the real important one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and we're going to replace this store logo with just the little PNG file. So that becomes the store logo. And we've got that. And then what I'm going to do over here, we're going to do a little store icon. And I'm going to go to Clipart. And I'm just going to download this. Make life a little easier for ourselves. The store icon is what shows up in a web browser when you have a little tab. So you see all my little tabs over here have little icons on them. That's what those are for. So I'm going to go over to my store icon and replace that with the little flower here. I don't have a preview image yet because I haven't created the store. So I'll go back and I would screen capture that. And let's do this. We need to have a banner in there. Let's go over to the style editor and then swap out the banner. And then we'll start playing with colors. So this banner right here, we're going to remove it. And they're recommending 2400 by 800 pixels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and just do a quick little Google search. That's good. So let's go ahead and download that. And we'll just call that banner. So we'll save it. And I think it's going to be pretty good. So we're going to upload that one. So it looks good. So let's get some colors kicking in here. Number one, edit over here. And I'm going to remove that logo. And that's going to automatically replace it with the Arizona Garden Club logo. As soon as I take that existing logo out. Now, if I didn't want a logo in here, I could just turn it off too. Because maybe I have the logo like in the little banner here. So I could do that. But I like that. And we're going to remove that little banner there. Don't really need it. Get rid of that too. Yeah, simple. Banner. Nice and clean. All right. Products are good. I'm not going to put a whole lot of stuff in here. So I don't really need any of these components because I'm probably going to put like 2 products in there to get started. So let's just do 2 products as my placeholder. And the footer here. Let's make that, I think, back to the purple. Yep, looking good. And got the directions in there if we want. Put the links in there if we want. I'm going to go over here and background color here is going to be purple too. And the buttons, we can go back and change those as well. Register here. Event information. Actually, like the colors there, it kind of works. Here's where you change the link. We'd have to put the link to the Arizona Garden Club in there. I think so. If you can set up the registration for the event here in here as well. I don't think the promo bar has anything in it. Join us in Scottsdale on March 1. That's when it is. 25. There you go. We've got a website. So let's save it. I think it's pretty simple. We get everything else customized in here, but I think it's a simple little website. So let's save and publish and let's create some products. And we're just going to go over here and I'm going to go to Store Admin and I'm going to upload that logo. So let's get that logo uploaded. And I'm going to upload the PDF version of the file because if we do the PDF, we can do colorways. I can recolor it if I want to. And we've got that. That's all I had. And then let's create some product. So add a product. And you got to have a t-shirt. So let's do a t-shirt. And let's do something fun. Let's do like a pig. Yeah, that's going to look awesome. And then I think we want to do like a lilac or something in there as well. And I don't even think I have to do colorways on that. I don't like the ash. So we're going to get rid of the ash. We're going to create the product. If I'm doing this as like a pitch store where I'm pitching the idea to them, I'm going to set this as $30 because I'm determining the price. And I'm going to always upcharge for the bigger sizes, do a little bit of price averaging between the 2X and the 3X. I always have the ability to reduce the price. Say, hey, listen, if you guys want to do these for 25, I can do them, but I'm only going to be able to give you a 20% revenue share. If we keep it up here at 30, I can give you guys 25%. Let them make the decision. So we've got that product, and then let's add something else. Oh, you got to do tote bags. Okay, so let's put that in there. Make a little smaller graphic. And we'll do those. Those are going to be inexpensive. Those are going to be 15. And why not add another product? And let's see what we got. So where all these products are coming from is my catalog. These are all from my product catalog that I've uploaded. So I think a mug would be good. We could also do a tumbler. That might be good. Tumblers are always good. See if we have this in white. We just got to make sure that it's available in white. Yep, we do. So done. Add that on there. Create it. Give it a price, $30. Finish. So we got products to load. So let's get them in the store. I'm just going to go to Style Editor. We got to get rid of this because we've got a 3-product array. And that'll make the thumbnails bigger. I could add a third product in there, but then the thumbnails are going to get small. So manage product. And hit plus, plus, plus. I think the t-shirt goes at the top. Yeah, I think that's the right order. Looking good. This is where I put the map to the event right here. I think the store looks really good. Save and publish. So this is what the store is going to look like. Can you imagine going to the customer and just saying, hey, listen, I created some cool graphics for you. I went to your website, got your logo, put it in here. I created a cool graphic for your event. Maybe you guys already have a graphic, but I wanted you guys to see that I have a good creative team, here at my disposal, which is GraphicsFlow. They don't have to know that. And put this together. How impressive is that? Who's going to close the deal? You're going to close the deal because they see it, touch it, feel it. They don't have to do anything. They're just going to get a check at the end of the event. You could do this whole thing with DTF transfers. So you could do the DTF transfers on the canvas tote bag and on the t-shirt and the DTF UV sticker on there as well. Do the whole thing with transfers. They don't have to commit to any inventory. You're doing a revenue share program with them. They're not stuck with a bunch of merch. You do a pre-sale. So you launch this as the registration page and they do a pre-sale. And then once they're done with the pre-sale, you cut it off. Maybe you order a few extras transfers in. You have some merch there at the event. But if you order some extra transfers, then you could pop the store back open for, a week or two and sell off the excess inventory. And you could put these products into inventory in your InkSoft. So it would let you know how close you are to being out. That's a really cool way to do it. So we created these fun little custom graphics in GraphicsFlow. We could use the art approvals function to go in and, send that off to the customer to approve the art. But hey, let's just bypass that. Let's just build a quick little store here and they can see exactly what I'm all about. If they want to see a bigger look at the graphic, they can click on it. And they can see exactly what it looks like. The only thing on this store I haven't enabled is payment, so they can't pay. So if you're going to do a store that is a, kind of a pitch store, one of the things you want to do, real important, is go into your store admin and you want to go down into checkout settings and you want to make sure that payment is disabled. So you won't be able to enable payments. You're going to have to add a shipping location first before you're able to add payments. So You can add your shipping method. As soon as I add, we'll just do UPS ground in here and US Postal Service PS. So as soon as I do that, hit apply, then I'd be able to come over here and see how that's enabled. And now I could go and require payment. We've gone through the whole process. We've created a graphic from scratch. We've colored it. We've, gone through that process of showing how you would get this in front of a customer. And we built this little cool pitch store that you could send out to them. You could do that in a text message. If you knew the buyer, you bumped into them out in the community, or one of your friends is on the garden club, and you just say, hey, who does your merch for you? Oh yeah, it's kind of a pain. We've been ordering it from Custom Ink. And then you're like, stop. You don't have to do that. We'll set the whole thing up for you. You don't have to have any minimums. I'll put a store together for you. I'll design a few graphics you guys can pick out. We'll collab on the graphics. When can you have that done by? Oh, I'll have it over to you by the end of business day tomorrow. How do you compete with that? You can't. You just made it super easy for them to buy from you. And you've also put a pretty big barrier for a competitor to come in there, because most people aren't that forward thinking. And if you're at this point in your career where you're thinking, hey, listen, I just want to work smarter, and maybe I don't want to work as hard. I still want to make the same amount of money, but I don't want to work as hard. Guess what? You guys have technology. You have GraphicsFlow. So you have a very streamlined art production capability. Most of you have InkSoft. So you have all the tools to do this. But the key is having a quick, easy, fast way to deploy graphics and a way to get them in front of somebody in the context of an online store, which gives them that Amazon-like shopping experience. That's really what it's all about. That's what I wanted to cover for you guys today. Thanks for joining me today, and we will see you on the next GraphicsFlow Academy.